Yeah, I just don't see the,
We're good?
thing telling us today.
Not quite. Okay, it's inside.
Over here. Ah, there it is now. Thank you, Matt.
We're all set?
All set.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. That, any corrections or anything to do with the minutes from October 27th?
I'll move the minutes.
Second? Sue? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted. Brian,
Yeah, just a continuation from DPW this morning. You get a notice for a special Board of Supervisors meeting immediately after Finance, because if we decide to go through and purchase some trucks on the 10th, and since the 10th is the day and it's also the day of our meeting, we'd have to have a special board meeting for the Board of Supervisors to vote on that purchase to change that money in this year's budget. So just a heads up that that's why that'll be in there.
any questions for Brian? Okay, moving on, John, code enforcement?
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Three things I wanted to go over just as far as updates for the department. It looks as though we're going to be beginning our move over to Burgoyne starting either Friday of this week or possibly Monday of next week. I'll be sending out an email to all of the folks on our email list just to let those that I have direct contact with know that. Our review time right now, most people are back under the 4-week mark. We have one that's around 5 weeks now, but we're working on that as we have been. And then reviewing the budget for our department, we're at 97% for the income and 78% for the expenses. So that's looking good, considering we still have another month before that's wrapped up. So that's what I've got for a quick synopsis.
And your new employees, how's it going, the training with them?
Good. They're starting their third week on Monday, their third week out of the 6. So after that, the person that was hired for fire inspections will be able to start doing those on his own once he feels comfortable and has a little bit more road time here with Chris, but it's going well. So
Good. Any questions for John? Mike? Greg?
Good afternoon, everyone. I have just to update you on. The first, though, is that it's sufficient to accept referrals from Warren County into our Live at 25 program. Live at 25 is a young drivers education program that we operate once a month from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. On the first Monday of every month. And essentially the first 2 hours targets young drivers, but the last 2 hours of the program, we accept distracted driving referrals. Currently, we're holding them through a Zoom format, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But what the impact to the county would be is that we'd probably pick up an additional $4,000 in revenue with no additional costs associated with that. And it's something that we can currently accommodate. And I spoke with Roger Wicks. There's no formal agreement or contract that needs to be made between the two municipalities at all. So I just want to let the Public Safety Committee to know that I would like to do it and your permission to do it.
Any questions for Mike? Do we need a resolution?
No.
No?
No, because the referrals come to us from whoever, and then that actual person who's referred pays the fee for the program. So it's not like we're expecting Warren County to pay. They'll send them to us. If we have space, we'll enroll them, take their money, and if we don't, we can't.
Sounds good.
Good job, Mike. We could use the revenue anytime.
Anything else, Mike?
I just wanted to update you a little bit on what else is going on in the office. Currently, we have 93 clients under release under supervision, 11 of them which are on electronic monitoring. We're seeing an uptick in crystal meth users in our area, which is something that we haven't seen to this degree in recent years. And as far as the other programs, the DWI program, like talked about that a little bit. In 2019, we had 63 total referrals, and for this year, we're already at 84. So, I don't know if it's COVID related or what, the use of alcohol and poor decision making, but I just want to give you an update that we're plugging along, and I appreciate the support from DA's office and everyone else. That's all I have.
Thanks. Any additional questions for Mike? Moving on, Tony?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to update you. We have, as I think all of you know, we get a nice grant from the state for our victim services office. And as part of that, they do an annual audit. I was hoping that we would have the written report to share, but we have not received that yet. But we had our in-person meeting a couple weeks back. They focus on 3 areas: the accounting side of compliance with the grant, the numbers, and then they randomly select a few files. And the state was thrilled really with all 3 areas. They very much appreciate the effort of our treasurer and his staff in terms of the timely reporting, because there's a matching component, which is very complicated to figure out. And a lot of places struggle with that. And then I guess as a factor of the volume of business coming through the county and the criminal side, we continue to meet or exceed all of the numbers as far as the measurables for dealing with victims. So that's both good news, bad news there, I guess. But the office continues to really crank along. Robin and her group do a really nice job for the victims in the county. So, but that's the positive update on that. And I'd like to give a big thanks to Al Nolette. That would be a piece of compliance that would be very difficult for us to deal with on the financial side, and they make it very easy. So that's that on that end. I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions for Tony? Tony, is there any feel from your office about what the courts are going to do in the upcoming weeks?
Sure, we've received some updates. Most recently, what the Office of Court Administration is directing to all courts is no capacity in excess of 10 people in court. At present, they say exclusive of court personnel, but that is regardless of the capacity. So for instance, in Kingsbury, that could handle more than that. That's the capacity number. In Argyle, that can handle far fewer than that, then their number will be less. So we're still operating in person, which is good in terms of sort of the day-to-day business. But the other piece they've done is they've said no more in-person hearings. All hearings have to be virtual unless you get approval from the Office of Court Administration. At the county level, Judge McKeegan was able to get approval for some of the hearings that were in the pipeline already, but was told don't ask for any more hearings to be in person. So we have a few to work through next week, and I think maybe one the following week, but then everything will be virtual, if at all. In local courts, they can still do bench trials, no jury trials, but like most of our local court judges are canceling any hearings that were scheduled in person. I know our busiest judge, because he's covering Kingsbury and Fort Edward, canceled all hearings last week, I think, when that notice came down, or that information came down last Monday. Grand jury, we still have, our grand jury is seated through the end of the year, and there was a recent directive that said that the term of this grand jury will continue indefinitely. So that group will presumably stay on for a period of time after the new year, but that will at least allow a certain amount of the business to continue moving forward. So it's sort of it's a week to week kind of thing where we get updates and changes as we go, but at least so far, All of our local courts are still conducting in-person appearances, so that's a real good thing, and so is the county.
Thank you. Any
Yep.
questions for Tony? Okay, moving on, Mike?
Good afternoon. I apologize in advance. I have quite a few items to update you on. First would be that we have moved office space. We are now in room 222 in Building A. We are no longer in, the main office is no longer in room 268B. And I would just say briefly, I think this space still needs some work, and I will talk to the chair and whomever about that at a separate time, but it's certainly functional, but it still needs some modifications. And if you're looking for us, we're in room 222, and I will reach out to anyone that is interested in touring the new space. The next item would be that in May, Elon Cherney announced that he was retiring. I had a part-time vacancy from May to October, and in there we also had a maternity leave. The maternity leave is over. I have filled all the vacancies, so we are at full staff, and I would say that with the maternity leave and the vacancy, we are likely to come in under budget on payroll, but we are back to full staff, and it is very helpful, and on that end, things are moving smoothly. I would give you an update on revenue. In the last month, we've received an additional $61,091.26 from ILS. That brings the year-to-date revenue up to $1,514,581.51 year-to-date in revenue from indigent legal services. We do have a caseload standard. We're significantly under it for the year. The annual limit is 1,678 weighted points at this point. And as of today, we are at 1,232.75 weighted points. There's no chance that we will be at risk of exceeding our caseload limit this year. And that is directly as a result of the slowdown in volume during the early part of the year with the pandemic. I do see that our caseload is trending up. There were some months where we were significantly under the monthly limit, but this last month, the monthly limit we calculate to be about 140 weighted points, and in November we were at 130. So it is starting to go back up around normal volume, but we'll see what this most recent slowdown will do. I'm sure it'll have an impact on the caseload. I did submit to the Board of Supervisors, Ms. Prahota, an ILS report, that it was an update on the implementation and effects of the caseload standards. I submit it's a very positive report. It is, I have submitted it. If anybody wants to review the report or anything, I can email it to them. I can email them the full report. What I submitted as part of the record is just that portion of the report that pertains to Washington County. But I would submit it's a very positive report. And again, the relationship with ILS is critical, particularly in view of the revenue and funding that they're providing for much of what we're doing. One small issue is apparently I know for sure the assigned counsel office needs a color copier printer. I believe through Indigent Legal Services, the assigned counsel office Indigent Legal Services has suggested that the assigned counsel office use public defender money out of one of our lines to purchase the printer. I have submitted budgets and I've requested the printer. I'm just running it past the committee that we're seeking permission to buy this printer out of my funds because apparently it's available, and I think it might have been intended to be in the assigned council line to begin with. I can offer a further explanation at some point, but I'm just, briefly, I'm looking for permission to purchase the printer for the assigned council office. And I can provide any detail anybody needs, but we do have the funding. It is ILS funding. I just think ILS has suggested that it come out of my equipment line because of an excess in that line.
Do I have anyone move the motion forward? Okay, go ahead, Brian.
So,
To ask the question.
Mike, this is in the 2020 budget you're saying?
Is this Mr. Campbell?
Yeah. Is this the 2020 budget you're talking about?
2020 budget, yes.
Okay, so do we need to move that for it to go to assigned council within the budget, or you just need to get it bought in a hurry and it's gonna go to assigned council anyway? I try to understand what we're trying to do here.
I think the thought was that it would probably be just simplest if it was purchased without moving the money. I'm not quite sure really why it's being done this way. I'm trying to follow
By
this.
ILS?
Yeah, it was suggested by ILS, and I just don't want there to be any further delay
Right, okay.
with them
Understood.
getting the copier or printer. It's a desktop color printer is what it is. And I believe the estimate is approximately $500. And it's the same color printer that we have in our office. And I think they need it to be able to print color photographs of various discovery they receive.
I have no problem with it, as long as we're all on the same page.
Have a motion to move that forward?
I'll move it.
Dave? Do I have a second? Sue? Any discussion?
The hand, Lynn had a question.
Was that a second or you have a question, Sue?
I was suggesting I wanted to hear what Al had to say. He had his hand up. Al
That's okay.
Nolet?
Go ahead and finish your motion. You're fine.
Okay, I'll second it for discussion, please.
Any discussion?
I was just going to answer Brian's question. We'll buy it out of Mike's department's budget, and then we'll just do a fixed asset transfer to the assigned council. That's pretty easy. That'll work just fine. And just make sure, Mike, that you deal with Terry McNall because it's an IT purchase as well.
Yes, thank you, Al.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion granted. Anything else, Mike?
Yes, I did submit my COVID plans as far as reducing staff. Their proposed plans, if anyone wants any modifications or further detail, I can offer that. And I would also add, I can reduce staff by a quarter or 50% immediately. Reducing staff, I don't want to say it doesn't have its impact on the office, but as far as the attorneys, they're all practiced at working remotely. And I think whatever we lose from them not being in office is outweighed by the safety that is required right now. I have encouraged the attorneys to work remotely when they can, but they know they need to come to the office anytime required or appear at court anytime required. In the non-attorney staff, the assistants are working from the office, but I can reduce staff anytime I'm directed. We're prepared, and I have submitted plans. The next item would be that a few new ILS grants have been announced. I've already discussed this with Mr. Nolet, and we are going to meet and discuss preparations to submit our proposals for these new grants. They're really not new grants, they're extensions of existing grants. And this particular grant is it's approximately $100,000 a year for 3 years, and it's an extension of a grant that we've been getting for the last 6 years, I would say. So that's good news, and we will get our application in for that as soon as possible. I have been attending the police reform meetings. I've been invited, and I've been attending the meetings. As I have more information to report on that, I will. They've been introductory meetings, but I did want to let you know I have been attending those meetings. The last few items are I've gone to I need some office furniture for the new space. I've gone to the Burgoyne Avenue School. I've identified a few desks, and I've requested the availability of those desks. I'm waiting to hear back from Buildings and Grounds. I'm just trying to let you know that we are trying to get furniture that may be available without having to purchase the furniture. So, and I think some of this new furniture, if it is available, would really help complete the office space. So that's an update. Again, if anybody wants to view the new office space, just let me know. If anybody has any questions or needs any information, just let me know, and happy to get you whatever you need.
Brian, you have a
Yeah,
question?
Mike, back to your staffing. If it sounds like the courts are slowing down anyway, so does that slow you down somewhat, I assume? Or not necessarily?
Somewhat, but I think having gone through the pause earlier in the year and being experienced with having to work remotely, the volume may slow down, but I think that there's still a lot. We've identified a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I don't think we will. I think we'll be very busy whether we're working remotely or in office.
Okay, I was gonna say, if your office people needed to come in, separate from the lawyers, you could probably spread them out into some of the other office space you newly acquired to keep them apart if it was necessary, but if it can be done remotely, that would be great too.
That would be. And I mean, the new office space has permitted us to be more apart. So that's not so much the problem as much as we maybe just don't have the right furniture for the space.
Yep.
But I can reduce staff at any time. I'm just waiting for further direction on that, and we are prepared.
Any other questions for Mike? Is that it, Mike?
That's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Sheriff Murphy?
Yes, thank you. Just want to give an update on the executive order response to the governor's plan, or governor's order 203. We're still working, plugging away at it. It's up to like 37 pages, I think. Now, we've had a couple of meetings. A meeting with some folks from down in the southern part of the county via Zoom. We're going to have another one Thursday with the same group. So we've been working right along, and just to clear up any misinformation or misconceptions, we started on this in June, so we're 5 months in now, and I'm pretty proud to the point that we're at. The training that we've undergone, all this stuff has taken a long time to do, and now we're at the point where we're going to be getting the surveys back that we had put out a couple of weeks ago. They still have a week left to go. We've gotten a fair amount back at our office, and I'm hoping that people turn them in to the supervisors at their town halls, and we'd be more than happy to come around and pick those up as well at the town halls. And I think we've got a pretty good response because we had a lot of people asking for them and if they could make copies and things as such. So we're actually looking forward to using the next couple of weeks to go through the surveys and then look at what's in the surveys, related to what's in our plan and look at maybe some things that we could do based on the surveys that we're not doing now. And then, of course, we'll have more Zoom meetings in the meantime. And then hopefully either at the December Board of Supervisors meeting or at the January Board of Supervisors meeting for a resolution. I've had some questions from people about why I want to do it in January or December or January. And honestly, without knowing what could happen to interfere with getting a resolution, accepting the plan, I don't want to be in February or March, in other words, being held up with trying to get a resolution, since, we only have a certain amount of committee meetings and we only have one Board of Supervisors meeting a month, as you know. So I don't want to, I like to have things done, before April 1st, obviously, since we're under a threat from the governor to withhold state funding. So I definitely would like to have it done in January. So whether it's the December Board of Supervisors meeting or the January Board of Supervisors meeting is yet to be seen, but it will be largely based on the response from the public and also from the survey. So we take that part of the plan seriously because we want to hear from the citizens and we definitely want input from the public. And I just wanted to give you an update on that and see if anyone had any questions about where we're at with the plan at this point.
Any questions for Sheriff Murphy about Executive Order 203? No questions. Anything else, Sheriff?
Yes, I did have another thing not on the agenda. The purchasing officer opened the bids for the pharmacy in the jail, pharmacy contract in the jail. And it appears as though Westwood Pharmacy, who is our current vendor, won the bid. So I don't know if there's another step that needs to be taken other than the opening of the bids and verifying the contract, but we'd like to move forward with the contract with Westwood, and I think it's a 2-year contract.
Yeah, you just need to award it, Sheriff, so we'd have to do a bid to award it.
Okay.
We could do it in December if it wants to come out of committee.
Ready a resolution now, or?
Do you want to move it out of committee with board?
Well, the resolution will state.
That we're awarding.
Who the bidders were,
Yeah.
what they were, so we can see the lowest and all
Yeah, we'll
that.
have to get the grid, but purchasing should have that, so we'll get the grid and set it up like a standard bid award.
Yeah.
We'll say, here's all the people, we recommend it, recommend the lowest. And
Usually when we pass them, though, we know that. And when it comes to committee, don't we usually know that?
who all the other guys are?
Well, that and what the low bid was.
Oh, yeah, normally you know what the low bid was, but we don't usually hand out the grid, it usually appears in the,
It appears in the,
yeah.
I did check with Sue. This all happened like last week, so that's why it wasn't on the agenda or anything else. But I did check with Sue just before the meeting, and she did verify that Westwood was the low bid, and that I could bring it to committee. So.
Move the finance and we'll have information there for the full board now.
If it's a budgeted item, we don't normally move the
no,
finance.
it's budgeted, we're fine. I just wanted to know the number and where it came in according to where we thought we were gonna be.
I can probably shoot across the hall and get it if you're desperate to know it.
I'll move it.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Sue?
And on those contracts, does it deal with the lift of Medicaid? The finances on the Medicaid? Sheriff Murphy?
As far as the medication is covered under Medicaid?
Yes.
Yes, and they also provide a refund for unused medications, which is an important part of it as well.
So the
pre-packaged,
Medicaid,
right?
so the Medicaid pharmaceuticals are a base price. They're not. The ceiling is not off from them. Is that in the contract? Like right now?
I know they pay the Medicaid rates.
Okay, but the Medicaid rates, didn't they just lift the ceiling off pharmaceuticals? Now, maybe you might know better than.
I haven't seen the contract. It was at the next door. But it's similar, it's the same company that we had, so.
That would have been in the bid, Sue. I haven't seen the bid either, but that would be in it.
Okay, that would be included in that contract.
Well, it'd be
Because it-
included in the bid. So in other words, when
Right.
we put the specifications for the bid out, we put the parameters in there. If that was in there, that would be included in the contract, because they would have bid on that assumption.
Okay, so everyone would have the same, so if pharmaceuticals increase in 6 months, that's all gonna stay within that parameter. All of them have the same guidelines. And then the
Yeah,
bidding
we've been
process.
using the same bid process for pharmaceuticals for a while now, so I assume they recreated it. I haven't actually seen it.
That's what I'm asking, because at one point there were ceilings on Medicaid. And I think that the ceilings are actually coming off from Medicaid now. And so, say one inmate could cost about $4,000 a month. Maybe now it's $8,000 a month because there is no ceiling on Medicaid pharmaceuticals anymore.
Well, it is, the bids are actually based on the cost of the medications. So
Yeah.
it's all a formula that's in there. So as the county attorney said, that's all in the bid. And after the calculations, Westwood was the lowest bidder.
Okay, just curious because this just passed in the last 4 months. So that contract that we had 5 years ago would be different than we might want to use now.
And it was a new bid. So we will check into it though.
Thank you.
If that wasn't provided, Sue, we'd have to rebid it.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor to move the bid forward? Opposed?
I'm going to oppose because that's a big concern. It's a big cost difference.
Okay.
Don,
Yes.
you said motion to move the bid forward to where? Finance or the Board of Supervisors?
The board supervisors.
Okay, but if Sue's concern needs to be amended, would we then at the Board of Supervisors have more knowledge and then table it to rebid?
Yes, that's what you would do.
Okay.
Anything else, Sheriff Murphy?
No, thank you.
EMS Advisory Board appointments, Tim or Glenn?
And I don't know if they're handling it. Bruce Mason did submit, members for reappointment. I think there's about 12 from various agencies. We can get the list out, but he has submitted names through there for appointment to the EMS Advisory Board.
And that goes to the full board too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we can move that. I'll move that.
Any discussion? How many names are there? 12?
I think there's about 12 squads here that are listed, yeah. Eastboro, Fort Ann, Pasadena, they're all,
Can we move those to the full, a motion move those to the full board, the names for the advisory, EMS advisory?
Dave moved it.
Dave?
Who seconded?
Sue seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we'll move the names forward. Public safety, Tim and Glenn?
Good afternoon. A couple of quick updates. Now that things are opening up a little bit, we've worked on increasing our radio system. We're currently working on getting our site up and going on top of Prospect Mountain. So we already had radios up there, and we're adding new radios as part of the simulcast upgrade. Right now, what we're working on is co-locating on other towers that we have connectivity to already, which saves the county a considerable cost. If it was a non-co-located county that, or tower that was, we already didn't have connectivity to, that's $250,000 just to get the connectivity to the tower. So we're leveraging our consortium and the other counties that we work with to increase our radio system there. So that's moving forward. The Village of Argyle, since last month, we've been working with the state DOH, state OEM, and DPW, our DPW, to assist the Village of Argyle with their water system. They've had some supply issues, and 2 weeks ago, we were able to get the water filtration trailer from DOH that they were able to set up and pump water out of Summit Lake to increase their water reserves. And they're also working on they drilled another well, so they're going through the whole process of getting that well hooked in. DPW was hauling water for them. That process has stopped now that this pump trailer is in use, and they're finally getting ahead of the curve as far as their water tank. So just wanted to give a quick update on that.
Anything else?
Let's have a couple other things. Our 911 phone system project, we just put a wrap on that and finished everything up. So that ended up being about a $350,000 project to date, which was all paid for by Homeland Security grant funding. That was a huge project that we did with Warren County with Sheriff York, Sheriff LaFar, and their communication staff. So that's a huge, great thing for both counties. It makes our system so we're relying upon them as a backup and them us. So certainly if any side fails, we have a backup on either side that continue to allow us to function in one of the most important parts. So that's good. We're going to move forward with our text to 911 project, which will end up being first or second quarter of 2021, which again will be all grant funded. So things are just a little bit slower right now because of COVID and everything else, but we're still progressing forward with that. I think the only other thing that we just wanted to reach out to all of you is this time of year, certainly we start to see it with all the boil water notices that are popping up, and we've seen a couple in areas that we don't usually see one. We had one in that Fort Edward Water District 2 and Village of Hudson Falls area, which affected a significant number of people, which the hardest part with notifications in today's day and age is the landline phones are really gone. So the automatic sign up feature that people used to get with landline phones, you just don't get with your voice over IP and cell phones. So we're very reliant upon people to sign up for community notifications for emergencies. So we took probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 or 100 calls following that, saying I didn't get notified. I didn't know there was a boil water notice. So we do multiple pushes out for information, whether it's using social media, the website, our app, and versus 911 or New York Alert. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another push in a couple of days where we're going to really ask that you push that out to your communities before we need to notify people in your communities. It certainly saves us a lot of headache, and you guys certainly know the people in your towns best. So as soon as we send that out over the next couple of days, we'll ask that all of you share that with everybody. We'll send it to our media contacts and certainly harness Sheriff Murphy and their social media efforts and everything else so we can get that out. It's always good. We try to do a push every year so we can get more people to sign up in the event we need to. But we certainly saw it with this last large one in the Kingsbury, Fort Edward area, that there was a lot of people that just hadn't signed up before and weren't even aware of it, even though we do these pushes all the time. And a lot of the towns and villages have the information on hand. It's on the website, those kind of things. So anything you can do to help encourage people to sign up, we would gladly appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else, Tim? Clay? No? Probation?
Good afternoon. Taking this opportunity to announce my retirement. My last day will be December 30th. And I wish to thank everyone for this incredible career. I've worked with many great people. And I wish to thank the board for their support and other department heads for their support, for the chairman of the committee, past and present, thank you. Chairman of the board, past and present, thank you. All the town supervisors, again, past and present. I can't thank you enough. The support and guidance that I received was priceless. And I just want to let you know that I did my best to foster a good, positive work culture. And I'm sure that you all will make a great decision on my replacement, and hope to continue that positive work culture. It's surreal. I really, I'm going to miss you all. I'm going to miss this place. And again, I just want to express my thank you, my thankfulness, if you will. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Anthony. Job well done, Anthony. Get to work with you for quite a few years and appreciate it.
Good luck, Judge.
No, thank you for your hard work, Anthony. I'm the rookie here in 1 year, but over the years, just reading the different things I see in the paper and talking to some probation officers, I know it's a great department you're in, and you'll be sorely missed. And I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you.
Any other comments, thoughts? No? Any other business? Being no other business, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? Sue? All in favor?